little bit in the past about choice feminism and how flawed choice feminism is, which I'll just remind listeners who may not remember, but choice feminism is the idea that any choice that a woman makes is a feminist act inherently because it is a woman making a choice. And that is just an incorrect view of feminism. Feminism is an ideology that is collective, that is communal, and is grounded and rooted in all persons having equal access to opportunity, growth, and meaning making. Not just women. And that also means that women have the responsibility to make choices that further the collective goal of feminism, not just your own personal selfish desires. Not that having your own desires is inherently selfish, but for the sake of that, a woman being a tradwife on TikTok is not a feminist act. If you believe in choice feminism, maybe you would define that as feminist. But for me, I don't agree with choice feminism because I believe that it is a communal and collective effort, not just about certain women having that, the access to that. Because the added layer here is that grift wives overwhelmingly are white women. And I think that bears noting. That is important to talk about. And a lot of choice feminists who are trying to defend the right for women to be conservative and spout this really harmful rhetoric about, any sort of political or social happenings that are going on, it's flawed thinking, right? Because you can't make a choice that flies in the face of feminism and call it feminist just because you're a woman. The other thing that I wanted to add here, besides most of these grift wives being white, is also the fact that it is a grift, which inherently means a lie. There are so many accounts of the stay-at-home mom, the stay-at-home girlfriend, the trad wife, perfect Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls Wilder, little cute prairie dress, baking a pie with a kid on her hip that says, I love not having a job. I love having a man that's strong and masculine enough to provide for me. Girlfriend, then why are you posting on social media about it? Last I checked, your 300,000 followers are paying your bills. Last I checked, your social media is your job. So not only is it a grift in that any person who's posting on social media is only showing you one very flat dimension of who they are and what their life looks like, but also in this specific circumstance, they're just flat out lying to you by saying, I love not having a job and my husband completely providing for the family. Because you watching these videos is providing for the family. This woman making this content is providing for the family. She is actively contributing to the family. And sure, there's some inherent judgment potentially about how social media is not a real job or content creation isn't a real job. And that's, a debate that could be had. But if we're just comparing like income, money that's coming in, she is very much contributing to the household purely financially just on social media income, but also the idea that housewifery is not a job is also a thing that's being proliferated through that rhetoric. So yeah, those are some initial thoughts on the grift wife, trad wife representation that we're seeing, that it is just such a facade. And I know that people know that and people see that, but it bears repeating because there's a reason why it works. There's a reason why it speaks to the fears and insecurities and hopes and dreams of people, because that's why they're watching it. And you can't grift for something if it's not getting you clicks. And the conservative grift is much easier than the progressive grift. That's something that a lot of progressive creators that I watch will talk about, where they'll get people in their comments saying, like, you're just a grifter, you don't believe in these things. And they're like, if I wanted to just be a grifter and make money, I would go put a Trump hat on and
seriously, yeah.
it truly, like, it's so much easier to grift for one side than the other. And yeah, and so all that to say, like, yes, white women, we need to be holding ourselves and each other accountable to our responsibility within feminism, because yes, we are a minority in that we're women. However, our privilege cannot be understated or cannot be overstated, in that I will never, ever understand what it is like to be a person of color. And Black women die obscenely more likely in childbirth and are ignored so much more in the medical system. And of course, are far likelier victims of sexual violence and police brutality. And then, and that's just Black women. We could also go into any other number of minorities within women, trans women, Asian women, indigenous women. Like, AAPI hate is extremely prolific. So I just, as a white woman, I feel like it's important to underline, to doubly and triply underline that as well, that is something that within feminism we need to be not just aware of, but actively talking about too. Feminism has to be anti-racist and pro-trans and protect trans lives as well. Yeah. Thoughts? I kind of just went off there for a little bit, but
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think it's all, I mean, I agree with everything. Without question.